Hey everybody, Brian here on a lovely Sunday morning. 74 degrees, sun is out, not a cloud in the sky. Before I get into where I'm at, I kind of want to talk a little bit about something I had mentioned last episode, about how I wanted to do something special for this episode, number 10, as a way to commemorate this little project I'm doing, Walks and Talks, focusing on the WNBA and the surroundings I find myself in, sharing my landscape with you. But I gotta say, the past few days have been kind of rough. Not feeling all that great. Spirit's kind of shaken. Not too happy. Just kind of dealing with things. So it kind of shook my schedule with what I wanted to do for this particular video. I'm going to save it for another time. Today is just going to be about the playoffs, which start today. I'm just a little lost for words right now. Also, you might hear it in my voice. The kid crud from working in an elementary school has caught up with me. I've had kind of a stuffy nose, a little bit of stomach and head thing going on too. Just can only do so much. It eventually gets you. But yeah, so I'm at the lovely St. Francis University campus here in the extreme southwest edge of Fort Wayne, Indiana. When I was a kid, and this is when I was kind of figuring out what life was all about and what you do as you grow up, my grandparents lived in this area. It told me about college and what that meant. Well, first you got to get through elementary school, then junior high or middle school, however happens to go for you. Then you go to high school, graduate, become an adult, start your new life, go right into work, or supplement that by going into a college or university. Expand your education. And we had driven past this place many times, and I just found it to be a very lovely, serene sort of place. And I thought maybe someday I could be a student. Now, it didn't turn out that way. Life happens. Went right into work after high school. 17 years in a factory. Eventually went back to school. Got my psychology degree. Going to school still at my old age. But was with a clear goal in mind. And that's that. But I like coming out here from time to time to just kind of shake off some of the stresses. It's very serene here. School itself is pretty cool. Only heard good things about it. There's their little clock tower. It's cool. Fountain. Water everywhere, of course. I believe there's about 1,800 students here working across somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 degree programs. Nice place. It's obviously a Catholic school, hence the St. Francis. But if that's your persuasion, I highly recommend the place. It's very nice. So what I'm going to take the loop that goes around the main part of the campus here, which is basically right now I'm in the center of the campus. There's some buildings in the outlying area that are specialty buildings. I won't be going there. I'll be somewhat around the dorms, but it's going to take the loop, come back around. Shouldn't be a terribly long walk. I'm going to stop and talk about a few things I find interesting. Yeah, that fountain over there.
I know, that's what I was thinking. I said, oh, sorry.
This bridge over here, this can be a little weird because there are starlings and swallows that build their nests under the fence. And if you walk over, they might dive bomb you. A little harrowing, but it's nature for you. There's a beautiful little bench over there. Great place to sit and read. Or, if you're an old person like myself, just sit and think. Don't need to be tied up in the phone all the time. Just give yourself time to stare at the clouds, daydream a bit, reconnect with that primal part of your sense. Part that doesn't require technology. Over here we have the Bass Mansion. The street that we're on is Bass Road. I've been in here during a Christmas event. Really nice in there, as you might imagine. Just, I mean, every room stacked to the nines, gorgeous. Should do it again. Maybe I will this season. I don't know about where you're at, but fall is coming quick. We're still hitting 80s here, but man, the morning's around 40. So it's a schizophrenic sort of weather pattern right now for us. Change over into fall. I'm sure my seasonal affectation disorder will come in very hard at some point, manifesting in one way or another. It could be migraines, it could be something else. I never know. It's just a big guess. Pains of growing old, right? I'm gonna take another look at this mansion. Look at this entry. It's gorgeous. I don't remember the history of the mansion here. There's old St. Francis himself. I'll tell you the truth. Religion is not my thing. I'll tell you what. Those of that persuasion, new architecture, new aesthetics, gorgeous. Got to give that credit. But hey, we're here for the WNBA, right? Today begins the playoff series. Down to the final 8. Let's see who pushes on. I'll tell you this. Halfway through the season, I thought, oh, this is Minnesota's. It's their season to win. It's theirs to lose and give up. The ball's in their court. Whatever they do will determine the end. Now, there was a chance that they had to face Seattle in the first round. That's a bad out for them. It really is. For some reason, Skylar Diggins has their number. Now, the record doesn't necessarily show it, but Seattle plays Minnesota very, very tough. Thankfully, though, it's the Valkyries instead. Our 1-8 matchup is the Lynx and the Valkyries. Now, that should be a quick 2-0 for Minnesota. Nothing against Valkyries. They've had an amazing season. For a brand new expansion franchise, that's really good. Nothing but high praise for them. But I think this is where it comes to a close. Minnesota should have a pretty good time with them. I'm going to say probably average win total will be about 15 or so. And they'll be moving on. DeJounte Carrington should be back for the playoffs. Minnesota should be at full health. I know Alana Smith got a little banged up there, just a little bit. Nafisa is still very much wrapped in tape. and bindings and such. Too bad for her. She's a heck of a player. Our 4-5 matchup is New York and Phoenix. That one I don't really know how to interpret. New York's one of those teams where if they get on a bad streak, it's horrible. If Jonquel's not making her shots, she's going to be fouling and turning the ball over. Sabrina's going to feel like she's got to own the game and completely attempt to shoot the lights out, and it doesn't always happen. When she's on, she's on. When she's off, she's off. A little erratic. Great player, of course, but I don't know. I have a hard time trusting Liberty right now. And this is after an entire season of thinking they were just a bear. But then what happened was through the injuries, we got to see more of their B team. And I actually felt a little better about their B team than their starters. I like Harrison. I like Gardner. I like Burke. Something about them together. They try really hard. Maybe that's it. Rather than expecting to win, they play to win. That's a big deal. I don't know how to pick this series, though. Phoenix, I have never really bought. They're good. Don't get me wrong. Part of the problem is I didn't see them a lot this year. Watched a lot of games. Didn't matter who it was. I just watched the games. For some reason, Phoenix was one of those teams that I just didn't see a lot of. My gut tells me New York, but I wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix walks away with that one. They are the higher seed, but to be honest, between 4th and 5th, we're kind of splitting hairs here. Tentative view is New York, maybe in 3 games. We got the dream and the fever. Yep, the old fever dream going on. 3-6 matchup. I think the Fever are down to like 3 players now. A bunch of replacements. Who knows? Their injury list is very long. I don't know how I could really go with Indiana in this series. Atlanta, they've been really hot. The end of the season, really strong. Not as strong as Las Vegas, but really tough. I think they found their stride. I think they are a very reliable team. Even Brittany Griner, whom I'm not a fan of. I appreciate Brittany's contributions, history, I guess. But even though she's been better, under the rim, that's where I want her to be. I don't want her taking 3-pointers. Just stay under the rim, use her size, use her height. Seems easy. And I think it will be. I don't think Indiana has a great way of matching up. I don't think Howard is really a good matchup. She's got muscle, yeah. But Brittany has length. I think those kind of sidestep hook shots that she does, if she can get those wrangled in, get those locked in, I think that'll be the changer. I think points in the paint will be the change for the Atlanta Dream. I could see it going three games, but if I were betting on this, I would go Atlanta 2-0. Leaves us with Aces and the Storm. Ooh, that's a toughie. If Seattle plays Las Vegas the way they do Minnesota, this should be a very interesting series. Now, I'm still picking Las Vegas. They've been on a tear. I think they've got right now as far as longevity, undefeated streaks. I think, what, third all time? Seems weird to me, but yeah, they're on the list. Asia seems unstoppable. I've shifted my view from Collier to Wilson, if for no other reason than Collier's injury streak. She was gone for about 2.5 weeks or so. That gave Asia a lot of time to turn some heads her direction, and I think she did. I expect her to be MVP, especially if the Aces go far. But, and offhand, I don't remember when they decide that. I kind of feel it should be after the season's done with, after the playoffs have been determined and completed. If that's the case, if the Aces win, yeah, give it to Asia. If not, Lynx win, give it to Collier. Here's the funny thing. If neither win, let's say it's Atlanta. Let's say it's New York. Maybe they finally found some consistency and they won the championship. I'd give it to Asia. So Nafisa, I know you're trying really hard, really hard to get that MVP, but you got to win. You got to bring it home. Last season was so close. A controversial loss to a worthy adversary in New York. Make it right this time. No, you can. So I'm pulling for. That's where I'm leaning. But if not Minnesota, certainly Las Vegas. What I'm noticing in the WNBA, the good teams really shine. You can really put a lot of expectation on them because it tends to deliver. Not a lot of chance, I think, for a team to rise up. It doesn't seem to work in the WNBA the way it does in the NBA. Now keep in mind I'm new. Still a couple seasons into this now. But having like an Indiana Pacers sort of push to the finals, I just don't see it happening. If I had to choose a team that could possibly do it, and if I have to look outside the top four, maybe New York. I don't know. It's tough. It just seems very destined. I'm going to pause here a second. Up here across the train tracks is Lindenwood Cemetery. It's kind of hard to see back here through the trees and such. But a lot of this city is noteworthy people. You know, the sort of people that get streets named after them are laid to rest in this cemetery. A lot of inventors too. The inventor of the gas pump, the gasoline pump, is here. And I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I think the washing machine inventor and the slips my mind, but I went on a tour of the cemetery, and it referenced a lot of our local, again, well-known names in this area, and all the things that they've done. It's pretty amazing. There's a bit of a nasty history though with that cemetery. There's an area that was dedicated just to basically people of color. You know, that's how it was back then. But people can come and visit and pay their respects. Which I recommend anyone in this area, just take a walk. Go take a look at the place. It's a humbling experience. Back on the trail here, this is kind of a utility trail going behind the campus. To my left here, this is all wild plants. and they protect it. See, yeah, here's a sign here. Native prairie plants do not spray or mow. Basically meant for the insects, bees, pollinators to do their thing. It's a nice little move. Also got other goodies back here they've set up. I like them. There's some birds flying around. I'll get to that in a minute. Last episode, I think it was last episode, it's been a while. Man, time's going fast. I'm also forgetting stretches of time too. Trying to keep everything straight. But I think it was the last episode I had shown you the little teeny mates. Bought a package of those from Target. And got some players I liked. Well, my wife bought me another one. She knew I was having a tough time this week with the news, national news, other things going on too. So she treated me with another pack of those. some of those delicious, irresistible Reese's pumpkins. Oh, those are good. During the spring, it's the eggs. During the fall, it's the pumpkins. Doesn't matter what shape they are. Oh, back here, they've got some beehives. You may not be able to see it from here, but there's a beehive back there. It's really cool. Gotta protect the bees. Do a lot for us. So she got me the teeny mates and the pumpkins and a can of my favorite Olipop. Yeah, I'm a Olipop addict. You know, I wrote them. I asked them if they still had that endorsement for Angel Reese. They never got back with me. In fact, they treated my letter as some sort of content creator request. And I got this automated reply saying, hey, if you want to work with us and you like some endorsement, fill out this application. I'm like, no. At least not right now. I just do this for pleasure. And I'm not good at it. Hey, it took me like 3 episodes to figure out you got to turn on comments. And here I was thinking that was the normal. It was the norm to have that on. Like you default to having that on, but nope. They default to having it turned off. It's like, all right. So I had to go in there and make sure it's all turned on. Yeah, this isn't really my strong point. But it may turn out to be the best thing I have. I'm going to take a seat here, just kind of take this in. But I think I'm going to have to be better at this, and here's why. The nature of my job, at least my main job, not my secondary job, is to be a benefit to the kids, particularly in the special ed realm, those who have an individualized education plan for them to get certain types of help and accommodations and such. I thought about it because the way our school is set up, and I think this is district-wide, 5th graders are placed into 3 different camps. Those of high ability, those basically who can work at the expected curriculum level. In other words, the teacher can reliably expect these kids to keep up with what she's forced to teach them by virtue of the curriculum. And I'm going to default to a she because I'm thinking about my math teacher that I work with. Second tier, well, these are the mid-level. They may have tested at a 3rd or 4th grade level, maybe 5th, but they show signs of deficiencies. Could require a little more help with the prerequisites for concepts that are current in the curriculum. No big deal. A little bit of help here and there. Then there's the 3rd tier. Those who tested low, probably across the board. Low math testing scores, reading scores, social studies and math, or excuse me, social studies and science, not a huge factor. But for the two big ones, language and math, they've tested very low. That's my group. Now, the nice thing is, as you start showing signs of improvement, you can be reevaluated, which means if you're in that low group, you could graduate, so to speak, to the next tier up. Two of my students that I work with, whom I've had a great time working with, great rapport, they were graduated. They were told this week that, hey, you're going to go into that secondary group. They weren't too happy with it because they enjoyed working in my small group. In fact, it's one of those situations where I walk in the room after working with the kindergartners for a while, and before I'm even in the room, it's like, hey, Mr. Bryan, are we going to work in our small group today? That sort of enthusiasm, the willingness to work and put forth that effort, that's like candy to the adults. It really is. If you're a teacher, I'm not a teacher, but if you're a teacher and you have kids that are like that, be happy. That can be a rarity. Last season was terrible in that regard. Low effort, low enthusiasm, willingness to learn, just not there. But I won't get into that. But anyways, those two students whom I really enjoy working with, I'm not going to be able to come Monday. And the reason is they've graduated to a new group, a group that I don't mix with outside of recess and lunch. When they found that out, they were bothered. They were sad because they realized I wouldn't be working with them again. So I thought about a way to bridge that gap, to give them what they clearly enjoy within a fair framework for everybody. And I thought, well, why don't I make some tutoring videos covering some prerequisites in math, things that they need to know before they can feel comfortable with mastering the current curriculum. So I wrote the principal and said, hey, here's my idea. Here's what I like to do. And I'll see what she says. So in addition to my walks and talks about the WNBA and my environment here, I'll be talking about multi-digit multiplication, place value, the beginnings of basic geometry, applying multiplication where it belongs. And I think it's going to be fun. I like the idea. Hopefully she will as well. But I'll find out Monday, I guess. Back here, we're getting into more of the sports area for the university. In fact, I walked right past their bread and butter. Their football team is very well loved in this area. Multiple championships, reliable team. They're not Division One. Too bad. I think it'd be fun to have them as a Division One. We do have a Division One here in town. That's PFW, Purdue of Fort Wayne. Used to be Indiana Purdue of Fort Wayne. Indiana decided, we don't want you anymore. So they pulled out, leaving it to Purdue to manage. So be it. Wasn't my university, I was Indiana Tech. I'm a warrior, not a mastodon. But back here, beyond this building, I'm not going to walk over there, but there's the baseball and softball diamonds. One of these days, I'm going to watch a game, preferably softball, but they play so early in the season. Like early spring when it's still cold out. I don't want to sit there in the cold. I'm too weak for that. I have bad circulation. What do you think? Are you going to watch the games? I'm going to be a little busy today. We have family coming over. Every other Sunday we have family coming over to do stuff. Thankfully, the app is very cool. I like the app. Probably catch up on the games afterwards. I'd like there to be some sort of a surprise this season. I expected to be Minnesota and Las Vegas in the very pinnacle, marking the end of the playoffs, but let's get an underdog in there. Shake it up a bit. But I just don't think it's going to happen. Anything going on in the league other than that? Not really. In fact, the past couple weeks after Minnesota locked up first place, I watch here and there, but really haven't been paying too closely of attention to it. Because really my goal is to keep Minnesota healthy as much as possible. I hate seeing them go all out to win pointless games. And you might say, well, wait a minute. Beating certain teams might help Minnesota in the long run for the sake of moving around, positioning in the playoffs, seeding and such. I get it. But I'd rather they just be healthy. They're the best team. Just be healthy for the playoffs. Go out there, do what you need to do, win the championship, and try to keep it all together for next season, if there's a next season. I don't think I haven't worried about that a bit. Still do. I've already made plans to go back to Minneapolis, check out another game, visit the Target Center. I just don't know. Now, what I will say is no news might be good news. That might be the case. I haven't heard anything about the CBA in a while. I know it kind of stalled there for a bit because the players union said, you know what? The offer you're giving us just isn't good enough. I still think that was a bad move. But hopefully, cooler, more thoughtful heads will win out. And we'll have a season for 2026. What do you think? For those 3 or 4 of you who are lurking around, let me know what you think. Let's have a good discussion. I think I'm going to wind this up. Start getting the house ready for our guests. Maybe have a little bit of lunch. And try to feel good. Just know right now. But thanks to you for giving me a reason to do this. Until next time, take care.